You could have had the life that you wanted to have, and you chose to believe that that shit was whack, that that shit was soft, and that you couldn't do it, and that's why you're still here. That's fine. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Hood Soft Life podcast. I'm your host, Sabrina, and in this podcast, we talk about navigating the challenges that come with growing up in the hood and leaving those challenges behind for a soft life. Growing up in the hood has its own set of challenges, but what people don't tend to tell you is not only do those challenges follow you once you've made it out physically, but they tend to intensify. So, I'm bringing you along on my journey. I'm going to be honest with you about the struggles and the lessons that I'm learning to achieve a soft life. In this episode, we're going to be talking about, is the journey really worth it? Things that I'm feeling, things that I'm thinking, and the things that I'm learning as I'm on this journey. So, let's get started. One thing that I really want to continue to relay in this podcast, and the reason for why I started it, is to be real about the journey that I'm on and a lot of people are on behind closed doors and even out in the open. We live in a time, unfortunately, where we are so quick to highlight the good parts about our lives and show those parts off and show off the journey as if it was this easy cookie cutter route, when in reality that's not the case. And so I feel like that does a lot of disservice to people who are on the same journey as you, depending on how you choose to share it, because they're led to believe that this is going to be easier to achieve than realistically it's going to be. So when they go on the journey and they find that there's all these extra challenges that they didn't anticipate because nobody talked about them, then it's really hard for them to feel like, can I do this? Is it even worth it? And the way I think about it is like, imagine you look up a tutorial on YouTube. Everything looks so much easier on YouTube. And my analogy for this episode is going to be like, you look up how to lift weights in the gym. You've never set foot in the gym. You've never touched a plate. You've never touched any type of weight whatsoever. You go and watch the videos 1,000,001 times and you're like, yeah, I could do that. That looks so easy. You get in there and you put on all that weight thinking that's going to be easy. And baby, are you humbled? Are you humbled? Because one, it's not as easy as it looks. And two, you're probably going to hurt yourself in all honesty. And so I feel like that's how we need to operate when it comes to talking about, like, especially growing up in the hood and moving out. A lot of people are comfortable to talk about it once they reach the end goal, once they reach the mountaintop, and that's okay. I'm not shading anybody that chooses that route. I'm just saying for the people who are comfortable talking about their journey and being real about their journey, like, speak up and speak out. People need to hear that because we're leading people to believe that the process is easier when we just post all the good things. And so I think it's important to just be real about the journey and talk about the feelings and the emotions that you're going through during that time, because it allows people to know, like, okay, this is real, this is valid, this is normal. Like, I know I'm not the only person that's feeling this. I know I'm not the only person that's going through this, and that person is still going through. So there's no reason for me to give up. I feel like when we don't talk about that and we only post the positives and somebody starts going through the negative, they feel so alone in that. And it leads them to believe, like, this is not worth it. Like, nobody's experience looks like this. And I get that we keep a lot of things edited on social media. We keep a lot of things edited in the society and we only post the good. I get that people understand that, but there's something about seeing somebody going through the same process as you and being real about how hard it is that just feels so welcoming. And at least for me, it makes me feel like, okay, I know that it's not just me that's going through this difficult journey. And that doesn't mean that I want somebody else's journey to be hard just so that I can feel validated, but more so just feeling like I'm not alone. There's somebody out there. There's a community of people out there that are going through the similar things that I'm going through. And if I'm comfortable enough, I can reach out to them. And that's why I started this podcast. That's what I want this podcast to be. I want it to be that you see me through every phase of the journey, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever the case may be. And so you can feel motivated and confident to know that when it's your turn to do this, if you're not already doing this, that is going to be normal to feel like, damn, like, is this shit even worth it? Like, am I really doing anything? And feel like I just want to drop the ball and give up and just take the easy route. Everybody out here taking the easy route and they look fine, so why can't I just do that? But if you're taking this route, it's because you're not built to take the easy route. You're not built to take the route that everybody else is taking. And everybody looks happy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are. And maybe they are, but that's just not for you. Like, you're going down this path for a reason. And I just want to share with you the realities of like, you're not alone. It's going to be hard. You're going to feel like you can't do it. You're going to feel like you need to give up, but you can and you will. So let's go ahead and talk about what I'm feeling right now during this time and during this moment in my journey as somebody who's 23 and is really trying to break some serious generational patterns. All right, what am I feeling? I have a couple of things listed here, and I really wanted to do this in the moment, y'all. When I say in the moment, I mean literally the night before this comes out. It's 9:57 on a Tuesday night. This comes out at 8 a.m. on Wednesday, God willing. And so I'm going to be up all night, but that's okay. But anyways, how I'm feeling right now, number one is I'm having a lot of racing thoughts in this time and in this journey of my life. I feel like I'm constantly thinking about my past and my future and how the two relate. And it's very important to understand that your past does not define your future. It does not define your present if you are healthy enough to let the past go and understand that that doesn't have to dictate the rest of your life. There are some things that I'm still working on in terms of letting those things go so that I can have a healthy future and so that the two are not tied together in any way, shape, or form. They're separate. But right now, I'm feeling like the past and the future are so coexistent, or they're so tied together, that I feel like it's very hard to separate the two, and I cannot live with my past in my future. I just don't feel like that's healthy for me. There are a lot of things that I need to let go of. And so I'm just having these racing thoughts of like, well, how do people do it? How do people just let go? I feel like everybody says like, you just have to let it go. You just have to let it rock, like take it for what it was and move on. And I feel like that is so much easier said than done. And so I'm just struggling with feeling like my future and my past are two separate entities and I can let the past go. And I find it hard to understand how I can let those things go. I find it very hard to understand, like, what can I do to really just be done with it? You can say you've let it go, but I want to be able to feel that in my spirit and feel like, okay, like I've actually let this go. This doesn't weigh on me anymore and I'm happy. The other thing I'm feeling right now is like I'm having a lot of doubts about where I want to be. Hence the title, like, is this really even worth it? Is everything that I'm going through really gonna be worth it in the end? Like, I know there's a small part of me that really knows that I can achieve the things that I want to achieve. I can have the life that I want to have, but there's this other part of me that just feels so stuck. I'm being held by the two parts of myself, the past and the future, who I was, who I am now, and who I'm trying to be. And so I'm really just having a lot of doubts of like, can I really do this? Can I really be a healthy parent, a healthy partner, a healthy business owner? Can I really have the life that I want to have as somebody who grew up in poverty? Can I really do these things? Because I've never seen them done before firsthand from somebody that I'm close to or that I know. Yes, there are people in my life who have achieved the things that they wanted to achieve and they're successful, keeping in mind that success means different things to everybody. But I have yet to encounter somebody that looks like me who I have a good relationship with, who I can call like a friend and a mentor, that has achieved the things that they want to achieve and has gone through something similar to me. And I think that that's really important. And I know that we all have that understanding of like, we need that representation, but not having it and trying to go through this journey makes it a lot harder. And I feel like a lot of people who don't understand that, don't get that, like, the journey is already very difficult on its own, and then not having certain things like a mentor that you can count on that's been through some of the things that you've been through that looks like you really makes the journey even harder. And so I'm just feeling like, can I really do it? And not having that example in front of me and accessible to me to like talk these things out with is hard. I do have people that support me. I do have people that have achieved the things that they want to achieve, but they don't look like me. They didn't go through the same journey that I did, and they can acknowledge that, and I appreciate that. And I can still talk to them about things, but it's so different. It hits so different when it's like you're talking about your experiences from the hood with somebody else who is from there, and not necessarily on no trauma bond stuff, but it's just like, I've been there too, and here's how I got out of that situation. You can do it too. Here's some of the things that you can do to help yourself on that journey. The other thing I'm feeling is the struggle of knowing exactly what it is that I need to do to achieve the life that I want to have and not executing on it. I know exactly what it is that I need to do to make this podcast as successful as I want it to be. I know exactly what it is that I need to do to achieve the dream body that I want to have. I know exactly what it is that I need to do to achieve the financial goals that I have for myself, but I'm not executing on them. And I can be real enough to say that to myself on the internet, whatever. I'm not doing that. I'm smart enough to know how to do it. I'm smart enough to know that I'm not doing it either. And so I'm struggling with the feelings that come with that, because it's almost like not necessarily guilt tripping or shaming myself into the fact that you know that you can do this. You know exactly what it is you need to do. You're smart enough to do it, and you're still not doing it. Why? And so I'm feeling a frustration with myself of like, well, why is it that I keep holding myself back? There's nobody holding me back at this point in terms of these things that I can control. Nobody's holding me back. I'm doing it to myself. And so I'm really feeling that frustration of like, why is it that I'm holding myself back? And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the episode. And then the last thing I'm feeling is the fear of my own success, the responsibilities that are going to come with being successful. And in all honesty, as a woman in a time where not all men, I'm not going to say all men, I'm not going to generalize all men, but a lot of men are out here acting real sassy, out here trying to, get the benefits of like being a woman in a heterosexual relationship. Like they want to be real soft and real feminine and be taken care of and stuff. And again, that's not all men. I'm not going to sit here and generalize all men. And there's nothing wrong with men embracing their feminine energy and like wanting what they want. But it's to a point where we're on the toxic side I'm talking about. Like, I feel like there are a lot of men who are chasing after very successful women so that they can be taken care of, and they're doing them extremely dirty. And I have a fear of that, number one. And I think I also have a fear of knowing that for somebody who is so young, 23, and knowing exactly what it is that I want and starting to make the steps to do that, there are a lot of men who are not ready for that, who are not willing to accept that. And so it's hard to understand that like my own success will cost me things, one, and it'll also require me to do more. And I'm not saying that I want to hold my success back so that I can get a man. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that I'm finding it very hard to be in relationships with men, knowing full and well what I'm trying to achieve and what I'm trying to do, because it's almost like the men that I keep encountering anyways want up me. Like, okay, if we're talking about the possibility of like being in a relationship and like we're like being together, why are you trying to up one me? Why are you trying to be in competition with somebody who could potentially be your girl? That's a red flag for me, and I'm out the door. And so as somebody who wants to be a wife, as somebody who wants to be married, knowing that like my success will come with a lot of men like that, it kind of leads me to feel like uneasy. And also like knowing full and well like I will be the first person to really achieve the lifestyle that I'm trying to achieve, making multiple six figures, having a healthy lifestyle, physically, emotionally, mentally, and just having the things that I want to have. What does that mean in terms of my other family members? What are the expectations that they're going to have for me? And what are the responsibilities that are going to come with that? Am I going to have to start taking care of other people because I achieve the things that I want to achieve? Am I ready for that? And being real, do I want to do that? I feel like I'm not trying to say that in a selfish way, but I feel like that's a conversation that a lot of people don't want to have because it comes across as selfish. But do I really want to do that? Do I want to take care of other grown folk? I don't. At this moment in time, I don't want to do that. And maybe as I get older, that'll change. And maybe as things change for me, that will change. But at this moment in time, like I don't want to be responsible for other people and other things in their lives, financially, emotionally, mentally, whatever, which is why I don't have any kids. But I just feel like there's so much that comes with success, and there's so much expectations that come with it, especially if you're the first person to do so and you're from the hood. It's just like now all of a sudden, Lil Baby said they wanted his song. I got money and now everybody's suddenly my cousin, or they suddenly need something from me. And it's just like, I don't want to experience that, because I just feel like that's just going to be a whole headache in and of itself. And then everybody always has something to say. So it's just like, okay, well, now that you got money and stuff, like you don't know how to help others. You don't know how to take care of others. What about when I did this, and the third for you? This wasn't easy. This wasn't easy to get to at all. I put in a lot of time, effort, and money, and you're trying to take the easy route. And I actually knew somebody who literally saw my potential before me and tried to use me because they seen that I was really putting in the work. I was putting in hours to do the things that I was trying to do at the time. And they were literally using me to try and take the easy route. It's like, okay, I see that you're building this type of network and you're doing this, that, and a third. Put me on. And it's like, well, are you going to do it yourself? Like, it's like you want me to do the heavy lifting and then pass it over to you. Like, that's not cool, bro. So those are just some of the things that I'm feeling right now. What am I thinking? A lot of things. As a baddie with anxiety, I will continue to say that openly and honestly. I am somebody who really struggles with anxiety, and I'm not on any medication. Conversation for another day. I think a lot of things, but a couple of things that I wrote down is that, is this podcast helping people? Is it worth it? I just started this podcast. This is episode number 11. I'm not expecting to get hundreds of thousands of followers just because I posted something one time. I'm not expecting that. I don't want that type of growth either. I feel like, one, that's hard to maintain, and two, that's just very surface level growth. Like, I'm looking to build a real community, but I'm finding that, like, as somebody who is from the hood, as somebody who is a woman of color, and just knowing the realities of like my people and stuff, there are a lot of people that are stuck in their own ways and don't want to level up. They don't want to get out. They're so focused on the fact that like, this looks good, this looks cool, therefore like I'm not about to do what you do because that shit is soft, that shit is whack, that shit is weird, that's some white people shit. Okay, fine, don't do it, that's fine. I mean, whatever, you don't want to heal your traumas, that's okay. I'm not about to force you. I'm not about to shade you either. Do what you want to do with your life. Don't be shading me though. And so I'm just wondering, like, am I going to find the right people for this podcast? And I know that I will. A part of me knows that I will, but a huge part of me also feels like, is it worth it? Is it worth continuing this? Is it worth putting in the energy into it? Because it is a lot. I love doing this podcast. I really do, despite the fact that I always wait till the very last second to do this. But I actually like doing this. I like putting this out, and I do get some messages here and there about like how it's helping people. Sometimes I just wonder, like, am I qualified enough? Is this helping people? Is this really what people want to see? Because I feel like nowadays all people want to see is get ready with me to go on a yacht to Miami. Like, they don't want to hear this real shit. So I just feel I'm at a place where it's just I'm overthinking whether or not this is worth it. Something else I've been thinking is like, why do I feel mentally stuck in knowing the things that I want to do and knowing how to achieve them and still not executing on that? And really taking the time to understand, like, is that my subconscious showing? Is that my subconscious telling me that I don't feel like I'm enough for the success that I'm trying to achieve? So therefore I'm getting my own way. I'm self-sabotaging, and it's really showing now that it's like I could say up and down the world that I feel this and I know this and that X, Y, and Z, but when it comes time for the execution, and it's like the words and the actions aren't matching, like, it's really showing. Like, actions speak louder than words. If I say I'm going to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30, but I don't have a cent in my savings account, and I know I could be saving money, and I'm choosing to just blow it frivolously, actions speak louder than words. I don't really feel that way. So that's just something I've been struggling with. And then I've really been thinking a lot about the responsibilities that will come with achieving my success that I'm looking to achieve. And like I talked about, taking care of others, just like, what is that gonna look like? I have no idea. I can't look into a mirror and see what my future is gonna look like and understand and prepare for what it's going to look like taking care of others, being able to maintain a healthy work-life balance, knowing that I want to be married, I want to be a wife, I want to have and raise children. I want to raise children. There's a difference between having them and raising them. Conversation for another day. But I want to raise children. What is that going to look like for me as somebody who really does want to build something solid and build an empire, for lack of a better word? Like, I really want to build something that is big, not just with this, but moving forward. And how can I show up on my personal side of things with family, with friends, with loved ones, with my husband and stuff, and still do the things that I gotta do, still be a boss when it's time to lead a house, And then the other thing I've really been thinking about is just, how do I remain true to myself and still get to where I want to be? There are a lot of times where you have to alter yourself to get into the doors that won't open if you're yourself. And I'm not saying that you have to change yourself 110% to get to those doors. There's some doors that you just shouldn't open if you have to really put on a facade and be different. But especially as a person of color, like code switching and stuff like that, or feeling like you gotta like hide certain parts of yourself just to get your foot in the door is really frustrating. So feeling like I gotta hide certain parts of like myself and where I'm from and being from the hood and code switching, like I talked about, feeling like I have to do all of those things to get to where I want to be really has me feeling like, how can I remain true to myself and still have the life that I want to have, still do the things that I want to do, still have the career that I want to have? And I'm finding that I'm letting go of a lot of that stuff. Like, if the healthy version of my hood side comes out, and you know what, I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's what I'm going to call it. If the healthy version of my hood side comes out, if my quote unquote African American dialect, my Ebonics come out, and I'm finding that somebody's uncomfortable with that, I'm closing that door for myself, because it's just like, I don't want to go to work, or I don't want to work with somebody, be in business with somebody, and I got to pretend that that's not how I speak. And even in other places where it's like, if I feel like I have a pretty decent vocabulary, and if I feel like I can't use certain words, I got to dumb things down to show that I'm from this area and this, that, and the third, then I find that like I'm not really being true to myself now as somebody who hasn't made it to where they want to be yet. So what is that going to look like when I get there? What am I learning? And I have to laugh because, boy, am I learning a great deal. I feel like I'm learning a lot all at once. And I am somebody who's very invested in self-improvement. I am somebody who's very invested of like, how can I be a better person? How can I be a better friend? How can I be a better partner? How can I be a better podcast host? How can I whatever? And so some of the things that I'm learning are geared towards that, and not necessarily some things that I'm learning is just for me, like as a person, not as somebody who's a business owner or a partner or whatever. Just as Sabrina, these are the things that I'm learning. So one thing that I'm learning, and probably the biggest thing that I'm learning, is that people will always have something to say. That I already knew. The part that I'm learning is that even when they have something to say, positive, negative, indifferent, I'm learning how to respond, and when a response is necessary. Sometimes silence is super loud, and that's all that you need. You don't even need to say nothing, because the silence is a response in and of itself. I'm also learning that I can be respectful and firm and still stand on my business when it's time to correct something that I'm not a fan of, when it's time to address something that I want to address. I feel like there was a time where it's like if somebody disagreed with me in something that I felt very strongly about, I would take it personally. I would be not necessarily aggressive, but very assertive, and that would show. And I wouldn't say it would backfire on me, but I would just say like people are so focused on the delivery of the message instead of the message in and of itself that the message loses value. And so I'm learning how to be firm, be respectful, and still make sure that not only did you get the tone in which I delivered it in, because I gave it to you in that tone for a reason, but also the message in and of itself. And you know what? It's a difficult task to do as a woman of color, because anytime you stand on business or say something firm, it's already you're aggressive, you got an attitude, you're hostile, whatever. Fuck it, I don't give a fuck. Like, okay, did you get the message though? Did you understand that I was standing on business? I'm not tolerating that, or whatever the case may be. That's all I really care about. I can't control how you receive my message necessarily, even if I have the best intentions. If you already have that internalized bias just because of the way that I look, I'm not wasting my time trying to explain to you why I said it the way I said it. Did you get the message though? And if you did, I don't have the time to go back and forth with you about why I delivered it in that tone and why you feel like I was super aggressive. I wasn't even trying to be aggressive. I was very respectful. Nothing about what I said was disrespectful. Nothing about what I said was rude. So if you took offense to it, there's some healing you need to work on your own time. I can't help you with that. I don't want to help you with that. And I'm just being real about it. And even that I said with a little bit of attitude, and that was necessary. That was necessary. But I digress. I'm also learning in terms of responding to things when somebody has something to say is just letting that shit go. I was definitely somebody, it's like a minor inconvenience. I call all my friends and I repeat the same story 1,000,001 times till I got it off my chest and there was nobody left to tell it to. And I'm learning that it's like, man, let that shit go. Like, talk about it with one or two people that you feel really close to, have that conversation with them, and then just be like, all right, like, I'm tired of telling this story, man. I'm tired of feeling the emotions that come with telling the story, so I'm done. Like, whatever. I don't need to tell everybody. If I talk about it with them, then I talk about it with them. If not, then not. Because when you're pissed the fuck off about something and you keep telling a story, I know that y'all know. I know y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Man, do you get riled up and you start getting frustrated all over again? It's almost like you're still in that situation. You're re-traumatizing yourself every time you tell the story, girl. Stop telling a story. Let it go. Get it off your chest once, maybe twice. It might have been that frustrated. And then let that shit go and move on, man. Because it's just like talking about it after it's already happened is not gonna change it. Like, there's nothing you could do about it. Especially because, like, I know we've all been there where it's like, I should have said this, I should have said that. And you just keep thinking about it and ruminating on it. Just let that shit go. You said what you said in a moment. Could you have said something better? Hey, maybe not. But you didn't. And that's okay. Talk about it one time, talk about it twice, get it off your chest, and then move on, dip on it. In order to get the life that I want to achieve, I have to do a lot of internal healing first. And I have to be honest and address the things that I'm not entirely ready to address now. If I want to achieve certain goals by the time I'm 30, right? Like, okay, let's say, for example, I want to be married by the time I'm 30. And I tend to date somebody who is at least 2 years older than me, no more than like for 3 or 4. Let's say I'm going to be married between the time I'm 28 to 30. Right now I'm 23, I'm about to be 24 in May, so that gives me about 4 to 6 years, right? I have to start working on the problems that I have now to be in the healthy marriage that I want to be in 4 to 6 years from now. And I know that sounds like a steep road, but for real, like there's some things that we've been through that people know about or don't know about that will really hold us back from the success we're trying to have. I want to be in a successful, healthy marriage. And if I know that I have these specific traumas that are holding me back from trusting people to be in that marriage, I need to work on that now. Because if I want to be married by the time I'm 30 and I find somebody when I'm 29 and I want to be married by the time I'm 30, but I haven't addressed these things, I'm putting myself in a position where it's like I'm trying to address these things, be with this person and get to where I want to be. That's a lot on somebody's plate. Now, while I'm younger, while I'm single, while I haven't found that person yet, so that when I do find that person, I've already done the work. And there will be new work that will need to be done with that person, but I've already done the heavy lifting on my own and I'm not expecting somebody to do it for me. It's important to heal those traumas beforehand, because if you wait till the last second, you're going to make the challenge even harder for yourself and you're just going to want to give up on it, because at this point it's way too hard. It's way too difficult. You don't see the way out. When it's like, if you do a slow and steady wins the race, you're going to be more likely to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. You start sooner, you get to where you want to be in good time. Quality over quantity. Don't rush yourself through the process, through the healing process, so you can get to where you want to be, because real recognizes real. If you're not being real about the journey, by the time the opportunity comes, you're not going to get it because you're faking it through. And if you get the opportunity, right? Like, let's say I wanted to be a millionaire by 30, I get a job at 29 that's going to pay me multiple six figures, but I still am faking it through the process of saving money and whatever the case may be. I'm not going to be a millionaire by 30 because I'm not going to save my money. I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to be doing. And yet, lo and behold, I'm over here saying and speaking that I'm going to be a millionaire by 30, but my actions show that I'm not going to be, because I still haven't healed those traumas. The next thing that I've been really learning is that I can leave the hood and that's okay. Similar to the first point, somebody's going to always have something to say about something. At the end of the day, this is my life. I have to live with my own decisions, and I have to live this life the way I choose. And if I keep living this life in accordance to how others want me to, or others say that I should, or whatever the case may be, I'm going to be miserable. If I lived in accordance to what I'm hearing from people who are still living in the hood, I would be mentally unhealthy still. I would still be living in a great deal of poverty, and I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be working the job that I work. I wouldn't be doing anything that I'm doing right now. And I'm not shading people that are in the hood, to each their own. But I want healthy. I want generational wealth. I want to make a difference and help people. And I want to be able to make a difference in my own family, for my own kids that I end up having. I don't want them to go through what I went through. I don't want them to have the same traumas. And so I have to do my work right now before they even get here to make sure that they don't experience those things, because it's not fair to them. And same thing with the husband that I ended up marrying. I want to work on myself right now so that when we get married, I've already worked on those things, because it's not going to be fair to them to feel like they have to do the work to keep our marriage healthy between the two of us and try to help me lift the burden of my own work. That's not fair to them. And I don't want to do that for somebody else. Just been learning that, like, hurt people want the other people around. Like, I'm really trying to be, like, careful about what I say, but you know what? Fuck it. It's my own podcast. Somebody got something to say, whatever. Hurt people want other hurt people around. Misery loves company. People from the hood that are stuck in their own ways, that want to be there, that feel like they can't get out of there, will try to find other people to keep them down. When other people start seeing you achieve the things that you want to achieve and they didn't do that shit, they're going to be pissed off. Some of them, not all of them. Those people are going to be pissed off, and they're going to try and find a way to keep you around. So they're going to start talking that shit and be like, here you go doing that bougie shit. Here you go doing that whack ass shit. That soft shit, blah, 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 blah. Trying to find ways to tear you down because they're not doing it. They're not comfortable to do it. They're not real enough to do it. They're not ready to do it. And I'm not trying to shade people from the hood, but at the same time, I'm going to be real about it. Like, it be your own people. Sometimes, not always, sometimes it be your own people that really try to bring you down because they didn't do the shit that they wanted to do. They didn't stand 10 toes on their own dreams, their own goals, their own aspirations. So now they're trying to knock you down on your 10 toes because they don't want you doing the same thing either. And I just seen a video on Instagram. If I find it, I'll reshare it on the Instagram, the HSL pod Instagram. But it was like, when people that know you personally see you doing things that align with what you want to do, and this is not the exact wording, that's why I'm going to share it. But when they start seeing you do the things that align with what you want to do, and you start stepping out of this box that they create for you, they're not happy with that. They're not comfortable with that. And I didn't watch the full video. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I did. I started watching the beginning, but I'm going to repost it so that you can see it. But I was just like, that's so real. And I sent it to my podcast page so that I can watch it again and share it. But it's just like when they see you stepping out the box that they created for you, man, do they start having mad shit to say. Man, do they be flapping their gums. And it's like, I'm not listening to somebody who's still stuck up in this motherfucker 45 years later. Don't be mad at me because I wanted to do something different. You could have had the life that you wanted to have, and you chose to believe that that shit was whack, that that shit was soft, and that you couldn't do it, and that's why you're still here. That's fine. It's your life. You get to make the decisions that you make with your own life. You gotta live with them. Do not project that shit onto me because you wasn't ready to handle your own shit. And I'm willing to do that. And that doesn't make me better than anybody else. That's something I feel like I need to say as well. Just because I'm 23 and I'm choosing this route for myself and I'm trying to handle my business and get out of generational poverty, I'm trying to get out the hood, I'm trying to do things the way that I see fit for me, does not make me better than somebody else. But don't be coming up in here shading me because this is the type of life that I want to have and because you chose not to achieve it. Don't be putting that energy on me. If you want it, go get it. Get out there and go get it. I'm doing that. Do it. Ain't nobody, if I could do it, why can't you? If they can do it, why can't I? Don't be projecting that insecurity onto me. That's not fair. And again, I just want to make that disclaimer one more time just because I feel like it's necessary. I'm not shading people that are from the hood. I'm not shading them in any way, shape, or form. What I will admit is that I'm addressing people who feel like being in the hood is the best thing. Living with those traumas is the best things. Like I'm thugging it out. I'm gangster. That's some you go and do this, that, and the third. If you go and heal those traumas, like, man, I don't want to talk about that whack shit. Okay, that's how you want to live your life that way. I'm choosing to do it this way. And if this is what makes me happy, and if this is what gets me to where I'm trying to be, then fine. If that's what makes you happy, if that's what makes you get to where you want to be, then fine. We can rock it out. It doesn't have to be a disagreement. You don't have to shut me down and put me down because I'm trying to live the life that I want to live. It's like, let's be real. I'm not going to say all. I don't want to generalize. Most people of color who are growing up in the hood want the privileges that white people have. They don't want to be white. But they want the privileges that white people have. And it would be a lie to sit up here and say that I don't want those things too. I want the healthy, rich white people, okay? There's some people out here doing crazy stuff to get their money. The healthy, rich white people, I want that life that they have. I don't want to be white. I don't want to change myself. I don't want to deny my race and ethnicity. I don't want to deny what I've been through. But I do want to change the path for myself. I do want to have the house that they have, the money that they have, the freedom to do what they want to do when they want to do it. I want to be able to do that in my own way with my own swag on it. And that's okay. And I'm getting a little like worked up because it's just like I've experienced that a lot where it's like, why are you doing that weak ass shit? Why are you doing that soft ass shit? And it's like, because what you're doing is not working. So why are you giving me advice? But anyways, I digress. We're going to go ahead and move on to my 2 pieces of advice that I have for people who are on this journey. All right. My 2 pieces of advice that I have for people who are on a journey where they're trying to move out the hood and get to where they want to be. And even if you're not a person of color and maybe you didn't grow up in the best conditions, you didn't grow up in the hood, but you didn't grow up in the best conditions, this is for you too. My first piece of advice is to start healing those traumas as soon as you're ready to do so, because it will make the process so much lighter. Please do not force it if you're not ready. Don't do it. And that might be a little controversial to say, but my last relationship, I was trying to force somebody to go to therapy to heal their traumas in hopes that that would make them a better person, make our relationship better. And when you force it and you're not ready, nothing is going to change. You're just wasting time. You're just wasting money. You're wasting somebody else's time. And so don't force it if you're not ready. Don't force healing if you're not ready because you're not going to get the benefits from it. You can't fake healing. You really can't fake that shit. Like you can portray something to others, but on the inside, you can't fake that. If you don't feel like you've healed from that trauma and you keep trying to tell yourself that you have, actions speak louder than words, and it'll show. I could say up and down the world that I have healed my relationship with money. But if I look at my bank account and there's nothing in there, ain't shit up in there, actions speak louder than words. I haven't healed my relationship with money. And so when you start healing those traumas, it makes the process so much easier because you're closing those wounds out and you're allowing yourself the opportunity to achieve the success you want to achieve. If I want to be successful, and I already talked about this earlier in the episode, I know exactly what it is that I need to do to be successful. But when it comes time for execution, I don't do those things. That's because there's something internal that I need to work on to be able to get to where I want to be. You can have all the steps and all the tools and all the resources that you need to achieve the goals that you want to. But if you really feel deep down inside that you can't do that because of some traumas you didn't heal, because of some values that you still have about yourself or about self-worth or whatever the case may be, you're not going to do it. It's not going to be successful, because at the end of the day, how you view yourself, how you view success, the values and beliefs that you have about it will speak in your actions. Actions will speak louder than words. You can say up and down the moon, yeah, I believe I could do it. I could believe I could do it, whatever the case may be. But when it's time to do it and you freeze, that's a sign that you don't feel like you're ready. And so heal those traumas first, because that'll be one major roadblock that moves out of your way for you so that you're able to achieve the life that you want to achieve. Number 2, the second piece of advice that I have is spend time picturing the life that you want to have as much as you can. I'm finding that the more time that I spend picturing the life that I want to have, the more motivation I feel to get to the bag and to get to where I'm trying to go. When I picture myself living in the house that I built with my husband and playing with my kids, and they're happy and they're healthy and they, can have the things that they want to have within reason, it makes me feel like motivated to do the things that I need to do. It makes me feel motivated to start putting things in place so that I can have the money to build the house that I want to build. It makes me feel motivated to do the self-work so that I can be the wife that I want to be and be the mom that I want to be. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of traumas that are holding me back from the family aspect of things, because I didn't come from a healthy family background. But I can acknowledge that, and I'm working on that so that when the time comes and I do have a family, I'm not going to say that I'm going to be perfect. I don't think that there's ever such thing. There will be some wounds that, will still show up no matter how much healing you do, no matter how much time goes through it. There's going to be some things that still have a little bit of a hold on you, but as long as you're able to address it, fix it, and move forward, I think that that's what really matters. So I try to spend as much time picturing my life as possible, because yes, it makes me motivated, but motivation is good, but discipline is great. Take it from good to great, because you can be motivated and stuff, but that fade. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings come and go. Discipline is forever. When you create that routine, when you create that foundation, when you create that lifestyle for yourself, it's very hard to do something different. Like growing up in the hood, I've lived in that lifestyle for 18 years before I moved out, and I have these beliefs and these values and a routine that I'm so used to, foods that I'm so used to, that now that I'm trying to change those things, it is difficult, but it's possible. It's just going to take me some time to release those things and try something new and set up something new for myself. So those are the 2 pieces of advice that I have for you. All right, we're at that point of the episode where we've reached the affirmation for this week. And so the affirmation for this week is: the journey will be so worth it. The journey is new for me, and it is hard, but I know that it is so worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this 3 times. If you have the ability to close your eyes, close your eyes. If you want to write this down, however you want to speak this positivity on your life, find a way to do it. So, the journey will be so worth it. The journey is new for me, and it is hard, but I know that it is so worth it. The journey will be so worth it. The journey is new for me, and it is hard, but I know that it is so worth it. The journey will be so worth it. The journey is new for me, and it is hard, but I know that it is so worth it. All right, y'all. So that's all that I have for today's episode. Let me know what you thought about today's episode. Where are you at in your journey in terms of trying to get to where you want to be from where you started? Do you feel any of the things that I'm feeling? Are you thinking any of the things that I'm thinking? What have you learned that I didn't talk about? Teach us something. I'm really trying to build that community. So if you're looking to follow us, you can follow us on YouTube and Spotify at the Hood Soft Life Podcast. You can also follow us on Instagram at the HSL Pod. And I have decided moving forward that I'm going to be moving all the HSL podcast stuff for TikTok onto my own personal TikTok page, just because that's easier for me to manage. I thought that was too many profiles for me to try to manage at one time. So the new platform for the HSL podcast is going to be my personal page for TikTok, which is SLIZET_21. Again, that's SLIZET_21. So you can follow me on there so that you can see more of the HSL podcast content on TikTok, and just so that you can see a little bit more about me. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to DM me on Instagram at the HSL Pod. And I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Bye.